was good. Could have been better, but it was good. What's up, guys? This is Courtney, one half of the Brothers of Deconstruction, and I'm bringing you my review for Glass. Also, this is the obligatory spoiler warning, I guess. But if you guys watch the videos, you should kind of expect that by now, right? Yeah. So I just saw the movie tonight, and I figured I didn't want this to turn into a super late review. I want to start making a little bit more effort to actually sit down and record reviews after I watch the movies. Getting it out the way, I think this movie does deserve to be seen, but I think it could have been better. And I think the marketing probably was a bit detrimental to the overall enjoyment factor of the film, if that makes any sense. I don't want to do a whole quick rundown of the film, but I'm really just gonna go over some of the points and some of the things that I liked and didn't like. I try to do that most of the time during my movies, but I talk way too damn much, so I just end up talking about random stuff for 20 minutes, and then I get upset at myself when I have to edit that 20 minutes down to 15. But anyway, before I actually get started on a very unnecessarily long tangent, Glass is funny because it's named after Samuel L. Jackson's character, Glass. Like his uh, comic book name is Mr. Glass because he has brittle bone disease. I'm keeping that take in there. His bones break really, really easily, but he's basically a mastermind, essentially smarter than everybody else. Essentially, he has superhuman intellect. And even though this movie is named after him, he's not really in the movie all that much. But I can get why M. Night Shyamalan named it Glass, because he orchestrated the events of the movie, and even after this twist that we got in the film, you think it's going to end one way, but then you realize that no, Mr. Glass was and is always one step ahead of everybody when it comes to enacting his plan. So the movie starts out with it basically picks up where, I guess Split kind of ended off. Kevin Crumb, played by James McAvoy, he's kidnapped some more girls. Get to see that interaction of him switching personalities again and everything like that. And James McAvoy does a great job in this role again. Still funny, still kind of heartwarming and heartbreaking at times, and just overall creepy as well. But we see that starting out, and then we actually see that Bruce Willis's David Dunn character has a security store where he sells cameras and different things like that. But as the overseer, which is the name that they give him in the movie, we see that he goes on walks, and I'm going to be using a lot of quotation marks, but he goes on walks where he basically does patrols, and he tracks down, people that have committed crime. Like early on in the film, when we're first introduced to his regular life, there's these internet pranksters, YouTubers. This one guy, Superman, just comes out of nowhere and Superman punches a random dude on the street. And Bruce Willis basically tracks him down and beats the shit out of him later on. So the overseer, David Dunn, kind of goes on patrols to hunt down people. And he's been hunting Kevin's character, looking for the beast, because he knows about him. These girls are going missing. Bodies have come up mangled and everything like that. So he's trying to put a stop to it. But police are gaining on his tail. So he has to be a little bit more careful. But we see the movie is really more of an interaction between Bruce Willis and James McAvoy. They interact very early on after Bruce Willis finds the girls. He bumps into Kevin by accident, figures out the location of the girls, goes and saves the girls, has a small fight with Kevin. They put them all in the same kind of psychiatric hospital. This is where we basically get the introduction to Sarah Paulson's character. She's a psychiatrist that kind of specializes in people who have a delusion that think that they have superhuman abilities or abilities out of a comic book. I'm gonna say it now, but the twist that comes in the movie I saw coming, and I've already given my spoiler warning. It wasn't as annoying as most of As previous M. Night Shyamalan twists have been, I knew something was up with Sarah Paulson's character. I'll leave it at that, and I'll get to that later. Sarah Paulson basically says, "Hey, I'm here to kind of treat you guys and help you break out of this delusion. Like, you guys are not these superpowered beings that you believe to be." And we get Anya Taylor-Joy's character, Casey from Split. She's back. We get introduced to, I don't know the character's name, but his son, the actor who played Bruce Willis's son in Unbreakable, is back as well. He helps him run the security company, and he helps him when he's out on his walks. He's basically talking to him through a microphone in his poncho, and he feeds him information. But while they're in the psychiatric hospital, we're basically getting Sarah Paulson. It's basically development for them. She elects Elijah for surgery, and she basically, her job is basically talk them out of believing these delusions, as she calls them. Obviously, Mr. Glass is one step ahead. Once he knows that Kevin is in the hospital, he goes to him and he's like, "Look, I need to know if this beast is real, because if so, I can get us all out of here." He orchestrates a fight between Kevin and David with the backdrop of making a threat towards Philadelphia getting the tallest building, I think, in the country. But he said it had like 3 floors, have like some type of chemical factory or something on them. And he basically says, "Hey, I'm going to blow up. I'm going to use their own chemicals to blow up the building. David, you need to stop us." So he orchestrates the fight. They have a fight in front of the psychiatric hospital. Basically, what happens is David's son reveals that Kevin's father. Now, in Split, you learn that Kevin's father left him and his mother. He got on like some train and just left. What come to find out, which I thought was a really, really clever way to tie it into Unbreakable and the rest of the films, was that we all know Elijah orchestrated the train crash that David survived. It turns out Kevin's dad got on that train and he died in the crash. So basically, it all circles around to Mr. Glass saying, "I created us." Had your dad never, what are the odds that your dad will be on that train? The beast would have never been created had you have never been left in the care of your mother, who abused Kevin. All these personalities would have never manifested, and the beast would have never manifested to protect everybody. So he basically says, "Hey, I take credit for creating you," and then, the beast starts trying to crush him, but doesn't quite, because David says, "Hey, we still need to get this fight over with." He fucks him up pretty badly. Like, he grabs its shoulder, breaks probably, his collarbone and some stuff in his shoulder, and then before he goes to continue fighting with David, he basically punches him in the chest. Obviously, anybody with brittle bone disease, and he doesn't even punch him, he pushes him in the chest. That probably just caved his whole sternum in and part of his ribs and everything like that. He's effectively dying. They fight it out. Casey comes in to stop him. She basically brings Kevin out because they have that connection from Split. Kevin, who's the main person where all these personalities lie within, he made a connection with Casey. So she uses, and I saw a theory about this when Split came out. I think Casey's superpower is a power of empathy, because she makes a connection with Kevin and she's able to bring him to the light while the beast is in control. She literally grabs the beast, tells him, "I want to speak to Kevin," and he slowly comes out. Unfortunately, they use that opportunity to shoot and kill Kevin. And the personalities switch while he's dying. Earlier in the fight, Elijah tells the beast that, "Hey, water is his weakness. Go throw him in the tank." They throw him in the tank, but they break out of it. It floods the streets. There's a pothole that I noticed earlier that fills up with water. So while Bruce Willis is trying to recover, because he almost drowned, he did drown when he was a kid, but they brought him back, obviously. The police shoot and kill Kevin. One of the guards drowns Bruce Willis in the pothole puddle. And in that time, Sarah Paulson's character tells Bruce's character, "Hey, grab my hand," because Bruce knows who to go after if he touches them. He gets a vision. He gets a vision of her. She's in this organization where they basically talk about controlling or eliminating these powered beings or what have you. So it's a little convoluted. It was a little convoluted to say all of that. I think I'm starting to ramble on a little bit. To say all of that, it was a little convoluted. That was kind of like the big twist, I think. It was okay, but in the end, and one guy, after we realized that Samuel L. Jackson was dying or was dead, one guy in my movie theater actually booed at that moment, where you kind of realize, no, David's dead, Kevin's dead, and Elijah is dead. Three main characters of the movie are dead. Sarah Paulson didn't want. She thought that the plan was to get to the building where it was a basically unveiling ceremony for this building, and David and Kevin were supposed to fight, showing the world that these type of people exist. So she didn't want that happening, so that's why all of them were killed in front of the psychiatric hospital. But then, turns out that, beforehand, Mr. Glass set it up to where the fight and the different things that were happening in the hospital were recorded by the many cameras that they had installed, and emailed Casey, Mr. Glass's mother, and David's son, Joseph. Emailed the files to them for them to upload to the internet and expose everything. That's how the movie ends, with everybody watching this, and Sarah Paulson's character screaming in the hallway and going to another meeting saying that, hey, we can go to different cities and eliminate these beings and make sure that they don't get out. Again, overall, I actually did like the movie. I think the movie was marketed as a little bit more action heavy when it probably shouldn't have been. Knowing what I know of Split, I probably shouldn't have gone in expecting more action, but I kind of did. But I still like the story. It is a slow paced movie, but it does a lot of talking, and we get a lot of time with the characters, going through the motions of their daily lives inside of the hospital. They have like a little tell me what your story is type of group session. And I thought a lot of stuff in the film was interesting. I think it was a little slow when it comes to a sequel to Unbreakable and Split. I shouldn't expect an action movie. So like I said at the beginning, overall the film is good and you should check it out. But just know that there's a twist that Sarah Paulson's character isn't an evil person. They're not in the evil group, as she says in the movie. They don't take sides. They just don't want this getting out. I saw that coming. Just know that twist is there. But I saw it coming because even in marketing, something was off about Sarah Paulson's character and the way that she spoke and the way, kind of just the way that she presented herself. So I knew something was off, and I figured that she was probably in on setting this up, which she was. She had all three of them killed. Just know about that twist, and I guess the twist that Kevin's dad was killed in the train. It's not anything super crazy. It's not a bad movie by any stretch. So I do think M. Night Shyamalan is continuing on his resurgence. This isn't a bad movie. I just think it could have been better, and marketing probably didn't do it any favors. This is probably a movie that you should see a couple of times just to kind of catch everything. And I probably will see it again, but we'll see. Yeah, those are my thoughts on Glass. Again, it's a good movie. Samuel L. Jackson really isn't in it all that much, but I get why they would have named it after him, because he orchestrated everything and he even got kind of the last laugh. Yeah, check out our other videos, guys. I have super late reviews coming up, probably depending on when I upload this video. There's probably going to be a super late review posted before or after, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, check out our other videos. I'm going to be going on a really big super late review post in the next coming weeks, so just keep an eye out for those. I'm going to do a couple of retro movies, and I'm really interested to actually sit down and break them down. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch up with you later.